So today we're going over leg day. First off, we're going to start with some resistant bands, squats. So what you want to do is just step in here. I have a video on how to properly do the squats and one of my experiences. So if you could go over there and check it out, go more in depth on how to do the squat properly. But with these, we want the bands pretty good with pretty good resistance. So if you have to, go down on the bands a little bit. Have a nice external rotation at the hips going down, getting good depth, and also making sure you have tension on those quad muscles, keeping that core tight, good posture, chest out, and making sure you have good tension all the way through. If the grips get a little bit too rough on you, you can use gloves, stuff like that. I have no issues with it, but also this isn't very heavy, but once it gets heavier and stuff like that, you can of course get some gloves or something to protect your hands. Here's an alternative also using a different band. For this, it might be a little bit more comfortable because it feels more like barbells on your back. So just put the band behind your neck on the upper trap muscles. Put the band with good resistance under it. Have good depth, good squat. Keep your hands out for balance. I think that might be one of the differences between the two, is you're more balanced with your hands out and you're more comfortable getting that depth. Like I said, I have a video on one of the experiences on the group page. Go over the squat a little bit more to make sure you're getting that proper technique down. Back rigid, core tight. So the next thing we'll be going over is the Romanian deadlift. The Romanian deadlift, or other people call it a stiff-legged deadlift. You want to make sure you're hinging at the hips and coming back out, squeezing the glutes up top. So hinge at the hips, get those hands right below the knee, lengthening the hamstrings, and then come back up, squeezing the glutes. Just like everything else, you want to make sure that back is rigid, the core is tight. Go down on the bands just enough so you got enough tension under there to complete the repetitions that are needed. Here's another way you can go about this with the band, but if you would imagine a barbell behind your back, it would be like a good morning. But it's the same idea. You want to make sure you hinge at the hips, lengthening the hamstrings, and squeezing the glutes up top. Hinge at the hips. And with this, you want to make sure you have a slight bend in the knees just so you don't put too much stress on the knees. Squeezing the glutes up top, like I said, lengthening the hamstrings. And we don't want too much squat, putting the quad muscles in there. We want to isolate more of the hamstrings, so making the hamstrings work more than any other muscle. The next thing we will be going over is the leg extension with the bands. So for this, we're going to use a smaller band, and later on I'll show you different ways you can use other bands. Yeah, you just make sure you're holding on to something before you loop in there so you don't fall over. So you want this right behind your knee and a good dorsiflexion, so your knee towards your front toe, but also keeping that foot planted, having enough tension on that band, bringing it back, engaging that quad muscle. going forward and extension at the back. Yeah, if you need to, step back so you can have enough resistance. Keeping that foot planted, working on that dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Extension, engaging that quad muscle. This is a good exercise for those going into some kind of knee rehab and stuff like that. You can't really put too much stress on that joint. But here's another way. This is with the big round band. Only difference is you might have to step a little bit further back. And with this one, you can either, if you have the clasp, put them together or hold on to them to make sure you have that loop, and it's the same idea. If you want to do these in a seated position, take one band and wrap it around your upper ankle area, having that same idea, getting that full extension, engaging that muscle, keeping tension the whole way there and the whole way back. Different variations for that exercise. Next thing we're going to go over is the prone position leg curls with the bands. With this, you can connect the band together, make a loop, lay down on your belly, keeping tension on that band, and bring it all the way back, slowly putting it back down on that eccentric motion. Come back on that concentric motion, engaging those hamstring muscles. Want to make sure you get both legs For this next exercise, you will need the strap, which will go around your ankle. So what you want to do is just strap it around there before you get looped onto the band. It's the easiest way. Gonna do some leg abduction. So you want to click it on the band and then kick straight out, getting all that resistance, controlling it there and back, working that glute med area. And then make sure you alternate legs. If you need to, hold on to something, make sure you got that balance and you're working those muscles that are we're targeting. Keeping those core muscles tightened up. And here's another way you can also do that with the band step outs and the smaller band. With this, you want them right above your knee. You want your positioning to be, or you want the band to be in a comfortable position. But with this, you want good tension on those quad muscles. So with quarter squat, and then stepping out, still working those glute meds. And of course, you want to do this on both sides, keeping that core tight, back rigid. You could also do this exercise going up and down the hallway. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on getting the glutes, and with this we're doing some kickbacks. Still using that strap, having resistance on the band, kicking straight back. Well, actually a little bit out to make sure we're targeting that glute. As you can see, a little bit out, not straight back. Boom, right there. Next thing is the split squat with the band. So with this, you want to step in there, Make sure you're even with the grip. Have a good length between the heel and your knee. Dropping down, focusing on that quad muscle. Just like everything else, make sure you get that core tight, back rigid. Try to keep that foot planted, blowing up from the middle of the foot, not towards the toe and not towards the heel, just right in the middle. And it's okay if that knee goes over your toe a little bit, just as long as we're going off the center of the foot. Keeping enough tension, so if you have to, pull down on that band. There you go.